My name is Jamie, and standing here at my wedding reception, I never imagined I'd be the one to turn the celebration into a reckoning. As I held the microphone, my family's world began to crumble around me. My younger brother, Ryan, was already halfway out the door, his face ashen. What I was about to reveal to the 200 guests gathered in this barn would change everything. Let me take you back. I grew up in a small town in Vermont, a place where everyone knew each other's business. I was the ambitious one, the daughter who left for the city to make something of herself. I worked my way through college, juggling multiple jobs and student loans. Eventually, I landed a great job as a financial analyst at a top-notch firm in New York City, miles away from the cozy yet suffocating family home. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Thompson, seemed proud of me on the surface. But it was more of a distant pride, like they were glad I'd achieved something, but never really interested in the details. Whenever something went wrong with the house or they got confused about taxes, they'd call me. But I never once got a call asking how I was doing, if I was stressed, or if I was happy. I was always the responsible one. My mother used to say, "Jamie, you were born with a sense of duty." At first, I took it as a compliment, but as the years passed, I realized it was more like a label, setting the expectations for me. I was good with money, it was my job, after all. I tracked every penny in a color-coded spreadsheet, a habit I developed from growing up in a family where money was always tight. 6 years ago, my life took an unexpected turn. One Tuesday in July, I got a call from my mother. Her voice was filled with panic, broken and desperate. "Jamie, your father had a heart attack. The doctors are saying he needs immediate surgery, and there are so many bills we can't afford." My father, normally a stoic man, got on the phone for a brief moment. His weak voice, saying, "Don't worry, sweetheart," sent shivers down my spine. I knew it was serious. He was never one to ask for help. That very night, I set up an automatic transfer of $2,000 a month into a new account my mother had opened, called the Thompson Family Support Account. I felt a strange sense of pride, like I was finally able to give back to the parents who had raised me. My mother called it a blessing and repeated the words I'd heard my whole life: family takes care of family. My younger brother, Ryan, was 4 years younger than me. While I was the responsible one, he was the creative genius. He was always coming up with new business ideas, constantly working on startups. By the time of my father's supposed emergency, he had a new venture called Aurora Tech. I thought it was just another one of his projects, and I even sent him a text to wish him good luck. A few months into making these monthly payments, I offered to pay the hospital directly. It seemed more straightforward and less stressful for my mother. But she took a sharp turn. First, she went quiet, then her tone became warm as she mentioned my father's privacy. "Your father is very private about his health. He wouldn't want you to see his medical bills." She talked about hospital privacy laws and how it would be undignified for him. It all sounded so loving, so caring, that I let it go. As the years passed, that $2,000 a month transfer became a part of my routine. It was like paying rent or the utilities. I stopped reading the notifications. It became a normal expense, a sacrifice for my family. I never once thought it was anything but helping my sick father. I got promoted at work, I led teams, and I enjoyed my life in the city. But deep down, I delayed buying my own apartment for 3 years because that down payment money was always going somewhere else. I kept telling myself, later. There's always a later. I met my husband, Alex, at a work event. He was a calm and rational software engineer, the kind of person who could stay composed in the most chaotic situations. He proposed to me on a snowy winter night in Central Park, and of course, I said yes without hesitation. When we started combining our finances, Alex noticed the standing transfer. He didn't judge me, he just asked calmly, "Jamie, have you ever seen where this money actually goes?" I got defensive. I told him it was for my father's heart, that he didn't understand my family. He nodded and let it go, but his question stuck with me like a thorn in my side. 3 weeks before our wedding, I decided to clean up my finances. I logged into the bank and requested a full statement export for the Thompson Family Support account. I thought it would be a routine check, just proof of my 6 years of generosity. I expected a long list of medical payments, validation of my good deeds. The first hint of trouble came when Ryan's startup, Aurora Tech, made the local news. The article lauded his vision and hard work, and it mentioned that his early success was thanks to family backing. I was confused. My parents were on a fixed income, and my father was supposedly sick. Who was this family backing? I called my mother casually, testing the waters. She laughed it off, saying, "Reporters like to exaggerate." Ryan got a small business loan. And then, as always, she added, "Family takes care of family." Alex and I flew to Vermont for our wedding. We stayed at an inn near the wedding venue, a beautiful old barn that had been converted into a wedding hall. The family gathered for a rehearsal dinner at a local Italian restaurant. Ryan showed up in an expensive sports car, looking like $1 million. He hugged me and said, "Big week, sis. I'm so proud of you." Everyone around him hung on to his every word as he talked about investors and big deals. During the toasts, Ryan stood up uninvited. He started talking about how he'd built Aurora Tech from nothing. "I couldn't have done it without my family," he said, making eye contact with our parents. My mother beamed with pride, and my father just stared at his plate. Something about his words made a chill run down my spine. It was like a warning bell in my head. Later that night, I found my father alone on the restaurant patio. He looked older than I remembered, his shoulders hunched. He started to say something, "Jamie, I need to tell you." But my mother's shrill voice cut through. "Honey, come inside for dessert." He flinched and said, "Never mind, sweetheart. Enjoy your night." I knew there was more to it, but I let it go. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about my father's unfinished sentence. Finally, at 2 a.m. I took my laptop into the bathroom so I wouldn't wake Alex. I opened the long-awaited bank statements. At first, everything seemed normal. My $2,000 deposits were there, month after month, like clockwork. But then I started looking at the withdrawals. The same pattern emerged. Every month, as soon as my deposit cleared, the money was transferred out. The older transfers went to Ryan's personal account, and the newer ones went to Aurora Tech. There were no medical payments, no bills from hospitals or specialists. It was all going to my brother's business. I called my mother in the morning, trying to keep my voice steady. I mentioned the transfers to Aurora Tech, saying I was just tidying up for the wedding. There was a split-second pause on the line, and then she laughed. "Oh, honey, Aurora Tech is the billing service the hospital uses these days. It's also complicated with computers and middlemen." She added the usual guilt trip, "Sweetheart, it's your wedding day. Don't go looking for problems." I wanted to believe her. I really did. But deep down, I knew it was a lie. I decided to print the statements, just in case. The next morning, while I was sipping my coffee, I picked up the stack of papers from the inn's printer. I sat on the bed and started reading them line by line. It was undeniable. Every single cent I'd sent for 6 years, a total of $144,000, had gone to fund Ryan's startup, not to pay for my father's medical bills. I did the math in my head, as cold as an iceberg. $2,000 a month for 72 months is $144,000. That was a down payment on a dream house. It was years of my hard-earned money, given away under false pretenses. I also did a quick search and found out that my father's medical expenses were covered by insurance. The so-called emergency was a lie. I made a decision then. I opened a new note on my phone and started listing every deposit and withdrawal. I looked up Aurora Tech in the state business registry. It was all right there. Ryan was the sole owner and registered agent. I printed the registry page and slid it into the folder with the bank statements. I had a paper trail, evidence of their deception. I walked down the aisle at our wedding, past my smiling but lying family members, and into Alex's arms. At the reception, Ryan's college friend approached me with his phone out. "Have you seen the news? Aurora Tech just closed a $1.5 million seed round." He added, "You must be so proud of your brother. He always talks about how supportive the family has been." That was the final straw. Ryan then decided to make a speech. He talked about his humble beginnings and how he'd built his company with the support of his family. I looked at him, at my parents, and I knew it was time. I set down my glass of champagne, unclasped my clutch, and walked towards the band for the microphone. My father tried to stop me on the way. He grabbed my wrist gently and said, "Jamie, I know what you've found." "I'm sorry. Your mother thought Ryan was our family's future, and I let it happen." I looked into his eyes and saw the truth, but also the shame. I said softly, "I know you're sorry, Dad, but sorry isn't enough." And I walked past him. I took the microphone and began. "Thank you all for coming. Today is about love, but it's also about the truth. For the last 6 years, I've been sending my parents $2,000 every month, thinking it was for my father's medical bills. But this morning, I finally read the bank statements, and I found out where the money really went. I opened the folder and started reading the list of transfers. Every month, every year, the money went to Ryan. The room went silent as I spoke. Ryan tried to interrupt, saying it was an investment, a loan. But I just kept going. I held up the business registry page and said, "There is no hospital billing service called Aurora Tech. It's my brother's company." I announced that I was retaining a lawyer and filing a claim for fraud and unjust enrichment. My mother broke down, sobbing and begging me to stop. "Jamie, we're your parents. What are we going to do?" I looked at her and said, "For 6 years, you told me Ryan was the family's future. So when you need help, go to the future you bet on." After that, my family's world fell apart. Ryan's investors started to back out, and my parents' pleas for forgiveness were met with the silence of my lawyer's office. I didn't leave the reception. This was my wedding, and I wasn't going to let them ruin it. Alex held my hand, and we danced the night away. This whole experience taught me that love and blind trust are not the same thing. You should always ask questions, always follow the money. Don't be like me, who let loyalty and love blind her to the truth for 6 long years. If my story helps you, share it with others. And always remember to look at the statements, not just take people's words at face value.